Hey guys, in this webinar I'm talking with Marcos Bravo. He is the brand ambassador at LiveChat. He's also a podcast host at Incoming Chat. Also, he has a lot of experience in IT companies and software houses when it comes to marketing. He has over 20 years experience in marketing. So in this webinar, we are talking about how to differentiate your IT company and your tech business, how to do personal branding, and how to actually start conversations with your audience. It's a great webinar where we discuss different ideas on 20 years experience that Marcos had throughout the time. Enjoy the webinar and I hope you learn a lot. If you have questions after the webinar, shoot me an email or to Marcos because we are all about conversational marketing and we want to hear your feedback and any knowledge that you would like to learn in the space of conversational marketing. See you inside.
We're
Hi
live.
guys, and welcome to our next webinar. I have the amazing Marcos Bravo from LiveChat. Hi Marcos.
Hi, Romy. How you doing?
All good.
Thank you
We
for.
are getting better weather. Corona is slowly, getting away. We can go out in the park, so really good time. Before we get started,
I think you're having a little connection issues there, but yeah, you're right. Things are getting better for sure.
yeah. Guys, before we get started, maybe we can just put in where are you guys joining from? And I'm joining from Krakow. Marcos, where are you exactly now?
I'm in Wrocław right now.
Perfect, perfect.
Beautiful
Guys,
rainy weather today.
it's raining. Okay, in Krakow is
Yeah.
really nice, actually. It's very interesting that we're not that far away, but still. So, Marcos, you are one of the veterans, the gurus of marketing here in Poland, and not only. And it's a really big pleasure that you are joining here our community. Today it will be just a few questions
I
that
think
we
you
have
froze
for
again,
you.
man. Or maybe
Uh,
just I cannot see it. Can you guys see him, or he's frozen for everybody? All
all
right,
good.
I can see.
So I think it's maybe your computer frozen or something, but I don't know. If can you guys tell us if
Yes,
you
I
can
cannot
receive
hear
it?
you, Romeo.
Can you hear me or Marcos? Both of us are good. So Marcos, can you hear us? We can hear you well. Um, 1 second, guys. Let me write to Marcos because all good
Yes,
is in the. Uh, we are all good.
I'm glad that everybody can hear. They just cannot hear Romeo at all.
Okay, I don't know.
Let me
Can
try
you
to
guys
refresh this.
hear me
Don't
well?
move. Don't go anywhere.
Okay, that's great. When we are doing, when we are trying to go in and we are doing a rehearsal, everything works. And when we are live, obviously technology is not with us. So Marcos, can you hear us
I
right
can
now?
hear you and see you right now, and not anymore.
Perfect. That's great. So Marcos, can you just for the people who don't know you well, tell us a little bit about you to have a small introduction before we dive into the questions. You cannot hear us.
No, no, I keep I heard you the first But you asked me for an introduction. I can do that. In the meantime, we figure out how to do it.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, anyways, for the last, I keep talking about 20 years in sales and marketing, but obviously I didn't start anywhere high. I had to start. My first job was in Disney World back in the year 2000. It was an internship to learn about sales and marketing, but we spent most of our time really dressed up as a character. I was Dale at that time, from Chip and Dale. After that, I moved to New Zealand to pick fruits and teach Spanish and work for a few companies in sales. Same thing with Australia. Went back to Miami, became a photographer. Um, and I got involved into the cruise industry where I spent a long time doing sales and marketing as well. Went back to Chile for a bit, starting my job as a marketing manager. Came to Poland after that. Tons of stuff happened in between that we can get to it, but just to make the long story short, I came to Poland. I became international marketing manager for Techland on a couple of games that they did, especially Dying Light. After that, I took over Tooploox, and I've been helping some companies like which I'm very proud of being part of them. Work with Brand24, with Divante, with Nomtech, and now I am working in this amazing project called Success with LiveChat, and becoming the face of some of their videos and trying to spread not only their experiences and also my experiences. Is a mix of both, and loving it. So I hope that gives a little picture of what I've been doing for the last 20 years. But mostly, yeah, sales, marketing, and trying to get in touch with what people do and feel.
Can you hear my questions? Can you hear me? Because I am here and
again, I cannot hear anything.
I don't know what's happening because I'm streaming myself also here, and I can hear myself.
Oh, maybe Romeo, can you call me in Skype so I can hear you from Skype maybe, and we just do the video.
Okay, I don't know why you don't hear me. My camera, my phone. I don't know. Can you hear me better now?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, so maybe now it's better. Can you, Marcos, tell us a little bit about the software house industry? Because you worked for both Tooploox and Divante, and how did you? Because you are here for some time now in this industry. How do you see the market evolved and marketing evolved? Because what we see from outside is that Poland is an example to many of the countries that we have in Central Eastern Europe when it comes to software houses. The market evolved so much, and also companies started to be more mature in terms of marketing activities. And you were part of this change. So can you tell us a bit how do you see the market evolving, and what would you recommend to the people out there?
Yeah, let me start by saying, yeah, I've been involved with software houses for about the last 5 years, and what happened in Poland is very special. There is a lot of potential. I mean, I always find that Poland can build and create amazing things, but it always is the same struggle. How do we sell these things? And one of the early problems or struggles that these companies had in the beginning is like, how do we sell ourselves? How do we brand our companies? Because there was this expectation that everybody will want a software house. Yeah, it's the perfect business. I mean, you'll pay less money, you'll get great quality, but there was always a sort of a bad wording around it. It was the outsourcing. It was not something everybody wanted to do. So I think that was the first challenge that I found, is everybody's trying to like, hey, why we have a great offer? Why wouldn't they take it? And it was to go back to the beginning of marketing. What happened is that companies were focusing too much on the top of the funnel. Sorry, on the bottom of the funnel. So trying to just convert people, whoever will come to them, but there were no way to educate the people in the top of the funnel. So how do we how do we attract people to explain what are we doing and what are the benefits from it, and build a branding on that. So in the beginning, they wanted to do everything for everybody because we need to make money. But little by little, as you can see, software houses are trying to find a niche, trying to find a very specific group that they want to target, that they can also make money out of that. But it's been changing a lot in the fact that they appreciate marketing more. They understand what is the role of marketing in the company, because before it will be like, okay, we need a social media girl, and that was it, or someone who's gonna pay for ads. But now they're thinking, wow, we need a brand. We need something that will relate to people and get stuck in people's head, and also will open a channel of trust. And the other thing that it hit them hard, it was also that the cultural differences are there. I mean, doesn't matter how much of a Western civilization we're living in here, is the way you do business here is not at all the way you will do business. The way you will do business in the US or in Germany or anywhere else. I can hear you perfect now, by the way.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Well, I just want to check.
Very well.
Now they cannot hear me. You can hear me. It's very funny. Interview.
Now, yes. Apparently now they can hear you.
Okay. So what is in your view in terms of vertical and technologies? Like, do you think that software houses should focus on a particular vertical, a particular technology, or is more like we should just simply target more organization that doesn't matter if it's
It really depends on what you want out of your company. Every brand or every company should have a very clear target, right? Like a really clear group of customers. What I've seen is that in the beginning, companies will have the approach of, we do iOS, we do Android, we do AI, we do VR, we do AR. So you want to try to, whoever wants to work with me, I will do it, because we know we have the people. But it's so much better when, and this is an evolution that a lot of companies are taking already. Focus on what you do best, and focus on also what it will pay the bills. If you can do and there are companies that are doing it. If you can do just apps for everybody, that's great. That's paying your bills and that. But don't think you're gonna become suddenly a very unique name among all the other software houses, because after all, you're gonna become just another outsourcing source. But when you grab your company, if you look, let's invest on AI. Let's focus let's bring our people, even if you have iOS, Android, whatever, like all your devs, focus on one area and offer a full package. So if you need an AI solution, for example, you have a whole design team that understands the UX for this area. You have a whole developer team that they can prepare something that works for everything on that area, and you have people that can talk the talk, people that can relate to the client and speak the same language, and I mean technically, right? And have people who can also understand the needs and pass that down. You don't need everybody, and this is something the software houses were doing a lot. It's like, oh, you can talk to all of our team. I'm not sure that's a good idea. I mean, not everybody in your team is likable even. I don't know. I mean, you don't really want your client to talk to everybody. Have someone who can handle this and pass the right message to the team to deliver a full-on product. But going back to the root of your question, I think every brand should find what are the best thing they can do and focus on that, and then everything else will drip. You will get clients and other offers and other questions, but if you have your strong point, and this is what I do best. Oh, what about this? Let's talk about that later, but this is our main focus. So
But
I think it's a good direction to take.
another question that I have is regarding content marketing, and it's related to this. What I saw is that there are some organizations, like let's say Software Mill, that they focused on a particular technology, and somehow, which maybe you can tell us how, they convince the developers to write content, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's the tech content, and this is always a killer, because I can see that the companies, and we really did a research on all the 12 top software houses in Poland, and what we saw is that they grew because of really great content, and majority of these companies had developers involved in content, right? So in
Yep.
content writing. So how do I incentivize me as a software owner or software house owner, incentivize the developers to write and to start, pushing the brand and be ambassadors by that content marketing?
It's all about purpose. You cannot just ask and push your developers, hey, you guys need, it's part of your job to write content, so do it. And that happens. I've seen it happening. But when you have an internal marketing strategy, when you get people that works for you or with you to become part of something, it's different, because they feel the need to show what they are able to do, what are their capabilities, what are they been working on. So you shouldn't just go ahead and ask your developers, hey, we need content, man, we need to talk the talk of these guys, and ask them to do it. It's just like, look, they just show off. um Tell them what you've been doing, like show what you really are able to do for them in a way of content, and offer help. Not everybody can write. So even if you have someone who can sit down with the developers, all right, what you've been working on, cool, I want to focus on this that I developed that actually has these solutions, and as a developer, this is my vision, and help someone to put it in writing or in video. You cannot push everybody just to communicate as the company, but you can help them out, and you can make them feel part of a bigger strategy. So every time they prepare something or they create something, is something to be proud of, something that they can use later. I mean, the turnover in in this industry is high. So you have developers working for you 2-3 years, maybe tops, or sometimes more for sure. But let them know that whatever they're doing is part of their work. They can take it with them on the next company.
Mm-hmm. Guys, if you have questions, meanwhile, just put them in the chat. I will be able to ask Marcos. Also, you can upvote any question, so that later we can prioritize these questions at the end of the day, and you can also see the questions that we put in for Marcos. Very interesting thing that I saw is that now with all this new age of, developing the marketing strategies because of COVID, things are changing slowly, right? So what are those strategies that you think are dying in terms of B2B, and what should we focus on now?
Well, going back to content, the content that always works. I mean, content is for sure is going to work. Doesn't matter what you do. Content it should be a huge part of your strategy. But if you're doing content without a strategy behind, it's going to fail, and that is showing in companies that they're just writing stuff because they have to, and you are bombarded by virus-related posts, like, and don't I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'm guilty as well. I used it a lot in the beginning of COVID, but if you had a clear view of who are you selling to before this, you're gonna be all right, because these people are gonna just talk to you on an eye-to-eye level. But if you were still struggling, trying to figure out who are we talking, how are we selling, what are we selling, it's gonna get harder, right? So it shouldn't be a despair moment. This should be a moment to maybe take a pause. And I don't mean literally, let's close the company for a year or whatever. Just take a small moment and say, look, let's reorganize it. This is the perfect time to reattack and prepare or relaunch the way that we were talking to our clients, and maybe look back, especially if you're a founder, look back, what are the things that worked very well in the past? And if you are in the software industry, you know that most of the companies get new clients out of recommendations, and it gets frustrated for them because they created a marketing team with the hope that suddenly you're going to open up a massive funnel, but it doesn't work that way because this is a very niche industry. Even though most people need it, it's not an easy thing to break in. So it is the right time to look at what you're doing, but also as a founder and as a leader in your organization, this should be your job to, like, look guys, this is the perfect time to re-strategize or refocus our focus on this direction.
And that takes me to the next question, which is, how can you discover that uniqueness, right? That uniqueness in terms of a software house or a product.
I mean, when you think about what is so unique about yourself as a company, the best way is to go back and ask your favorite clients, your favorite customers, why us? But also be prepared that the answer could be a disappointing answer, like, well, you were the cheapest one. It happens, right? But start looking at that. If that's the only answer that you're getting, I hire you because of the price. Maybe go back, like, and how can I take advantage of that fact without making it sound that we're the cheapest? Right? So go back and ask your customers, like, what is it that you really appreciate? Why have you been working with us for 3 years to 5 years? And try to exploit that. Try to go back and try that with new clients. But don't think recommendations are a bad thing. You should be able to exploit that as well. It's very hard to take trips right now, but if you get in calls with someone like, look, man, now I understand why are you so happy with our service. Feel free to ask, like, do you know anyone who might need our stuff? And most people will be happy to help you if you're providing a good service. They know that the more they help you, the more you're going to help them.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys do now in LiveChat? Because you have a new project. There is all these changes with COVID. Obviously, LiveChat is growing. I suppose that many people need to connect more and more. It's like you have Zoom, and then you need to have, as a B2B company or e-commerce, you need to have LiveChat. And I just saw a really interesting study by HubSpot, and you were the number one, like LiveChat was number one there in terms of usage. So any hints of the future of B2B digital marketing, and maybe give some examples also from LiveChat of what you're trying to do, what are the strategies you're going for?
I mean, that's the magic of the project that we're doing right now. We decided to create this hub called Success, which is a place that we don't try to sell anything. We just want to share our experiences, our knowledge, things that we heard, even news. And if you go to Success, you're going to find very, very little live chat information. So what we're trying to do here is just to remind people, like, look, we learned so much and everything here is for you. Nothing in return. There's no premium access. There's no Patreon. Just here. And that's when the brand started getting stuck in people's heads. And it's not a process that works overnight. This is something that it takes a while. And we have a full team of people creating content constantly, and that we have to switch from creating content that sells to create content that gives value. So this project is really planting the seed of presenting a company in a different light,
I'm just
presenting a company
wondering.
that cares about the customer.
I'm just wondering, how do you measure that? Because we have the same, right? Like, we are huge content marketing believers. I really, the services we do, it's all around lead generation with content marketing. And first, think about that value, right? But maybe for us, in this case, it's a bit easier because it's more like performance marketing. So means that we would track everything throughout the funnel. So we would know what leads come from which blog posts, so on and so forth. But when it comes to webinars, podcasts, things that you guys do, how do you actually measure the growth of that organization that can be attributed back to this type of activities?
So I mean, you definitely know that this is not something you're going to measure in a week or in a month or even 3 months. It's a process, right? But the biggest measurement or the biggest reason behind having an approach like this is to follow the customer journey. If a customer finds out about your brand, they want to know what else are you doing or what is your brand about. And they're going to look for you everywhere they can if they're interested in what you have to offer. So if we have something that call the attention in Facebook, a silly post or a little message, they might Google you, and they might look for you in Instagram, or they might look for you in LinkedIn. And that's when, if you understand that process of them checking all of your content before they make a decision, you will know where to have your presence. And if each one of those presence will give real value with a very subtle call to action, you have a lot of more probabilities to start closing deals. And then if you look back, you're going to have to just, since the moment that we started till now, is anything increased? Have we seen more trials? Have we seen more conversions? For example, since the moment we started Success, we've seen a lot of changes. And we're lucky enough that we're one of the companies that's still doing very well. But we see changes in the behavior. They're appreciating different things that we're offering. So we see that something is working. But you know it as a marketer, this is not something that happened overnight. You build up, but you need to build that foundation first. Wherever they look for you, there's something good about you. And when that foundation is built and they can step on that before they make the decision, then it's just a closing deal.
And I'm just curious, what are the main differences when it comes to this building a brand between a SaaS company, a B2B SaaS that you worked in Brand24, now with LiveChat, and the service business, right? That software house, whatever service agency, whatever. Like, what are the main differences, and where do you like to work the most, and what are those, and why? Actually, I'm very curious about that.
I might have disagreeing opinions about this, but to me, there's no difference. If you build up your marketing based on someone else's problems, and you have the solution, that's it. That's where your marketing focus should be. In that message, understanding the other person, not that. I know the B2B is all about the companies and companies, and I might be repeating a very common conception, but there's always a person behind. And look at the content that Brand24 is creating, the content that Divante is creating, that we're doing with LiveChat now. We're focusing on someone's issues. Like, you want to develop yourself? Here. Do you want to save time? You want to go and see your family early, don't you? We'll save you time. You can go home earlier. Do you need access from home? this is what we're offering you. So I don't see the difference. I think marketing should be the same always at the base. Understand your customer, understand their problems, and understand how your product is going to solve those problems. If you have that covered, the rest should be quite easy.
Yeah, the argument there compared to software houses would be that you have much more metrics. It's easier to have that user base because you have a free trial. The friction is very easy. So you can start engaging with a particular user much faster because of the free trial. Then you might use Mixpanel or any kind of product analytics tool that you link it with your content engagement tools, so you can do lead scoring. You can start to find out, okay, who is actually engaged more, and reach out to them, compared to a software house where the life cycle of sales is much higher, right? You need to do much more things. This is one thing. The second is that you cannot really scale that much because you need employees, right? You need to hire developers to
Yeah, in order to offer a service.
yes, because you could be the marketing machine of any software house, but if you don't have developers to actually execute those things, it's nonsense, right? So
But that's why in the software houses, I think that the human touch is even more important, because here is you need to have someone understanding what's the problem this company is having so well that you can foresee their needs. So you can know that they will need 3 more developers in the future or a new product in the future, and you start getting prepared for that. But let them know. Don't just hire people and then like, oh, we have no projects for you.
mhm. So are there any strategies for product market fit assessment that you would recommend when it comes to all this?
I will definitely recommend to stop looking at the performance and growth if you don't have a solid base of your brand of what is it that you're doing. Like we
Mm-hmm.
were saying in the beginning, a lot of companies are offering everything for everybody. But if you don't have this clarity of what is it that you're doing for real, there's no way to invest tons of money on like, all right, ads and optimization and whatever. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend as a strategy, go back to the beginning, grab some of those old marketing books, read Robert Cialdini, understand the relationship that you want to create.
Mm-hmm.
Then move on and optimize and pay for ads and go to events and all that.
So you talked about the basics. What do you think? Like, is that good old content strategy starting to wear off when you? And I see this everywhere. And blog article, lead magnet, lead nurturing, entry point offer. Like the basics of what HubSpot was teaching us back in 2008. Um, that very linear fun. How is that changing nowadays with all this amount of information, with tools like yours? Like, how do you see this content strategy? Is it something that we should still follow, or it's something that maybe it's oversaturated?
Um, it's a bit of both, because yeah, you do have content everywhere. Whatever is it that you want to access to, it's just a matter of googling that. There's nothing new. There's no new content, and this is something I was writing about not too long ago. But what's going to make the difference is if you have this base so clear, you can choose a voice that hasn't been heard before. And if
Mm-hmm.
your voice is going to make the difference, it's going to access the right people at the right time. It's not about what are you writing. Let me go back. It's not about what you're saying, it's about how you're saying. The content will be the same among thousands of companies. But what's going to make the difference is your voice. How are you saying these things and to whom? If you get that clear, your content will break through all the content. So yeah, keep writing content, but make sure that your marketing leadership, whoever that will be, have a clear direction for you. So if you're a content writer or content creator, you should have a book written about your customer target.
Yeah, somebody said that in a very over dramatic way, okay, over dramatic, but they were saying go inside the mind of your customers and walk around.
The thing
So,
is, those things became cliche, right?
uh-huh.
So these are like, people feels like old marketing ways, but it's not about the how marketing evolves. That evolves technically, but it's always about human nature, and that hasn't changed.
What do you think? Forms are dead, or we are long live the chatbots?
People wants the human touch, doesn't matter what. Chatbots are great, but they need to be part of a balance, a mix. Sometimes you really want to go to a place, it's like, look, I need a quick answer. But if that answer doesn't come out, you can get frustrated at that poor bot, and you're going to scream for human help. You can train the bot as much as you can to be superhuman. We have an amazing product with chatbot, for example, but we understand that chatbot is not the complete solution. Is the best help you can get as a human support or as a company.
You
So
mentioned
I don't
about
think the forms are dead.
human touch. How do you guys like? What do you guys do well in live chat when it comes to this, different to others? When it comes to really understanding the client and having that human touch.
We do talk a lot with them. We really like to. I mean, for a video that we put out during Black Friday, I think it was, I had the chance to talk to this small company. It's called Santa's Letter or something like that. And it was so great to hear from this lady with her small company that basically sends a letter to your kids from Santa. How much we helped with a simple bot solution that our team sit down with them, help them prepare it. And she was happy as hell. And to feel that she's so grateful about it, and that she's happy to be part of a video promoting the chatbots. I mean, that's what makes it. It's talking. It's just talking to them.
So what you do is actually what Claude Hopkins was saying way back, the father of advertising, let's say, offer a service, don't sell. Like make
It's
it in that way that I am genuinely helping. And this is sometimes crazy because I'm trying to tell also salespeople, right? Like you don't need to sell. You don't need to sell. I was in sales. What you need to do is to offer services, to be there. And I know it's so cliche and everybody is talking about this, but it's a good reminder for us. And this takes me to another question regarding personal branding, because what I see is that both you as a brand ambassador, you're guru in this, and we see some of the companies that really grew, like NetGuru with Victor, Divante with Tom, Brand 24 also. So do you think that software houses can use the personal branding of their CEOs, and how they can actually do that to generate leads and close deals? Because okay, it's great to have personal branding, but in the end I want to generate leads and close the deals, right?
it's really depends on who do you want to put in front as a brand, right? Going back to Brand 24, Michał works so well as the face of Brand 24 because he's honest about it. The person that you see in the videos or talking on his podcast or whatever, that's him in real life. So you get to like the real person behind, right? But when you try to do this in a way that you just want to push your CEO, oh, you need to talk more. Look, the guy might not be likable, and you might have nothing that you can do about it. And there are companies that they keep pushing. I don't want to mention poor Robert, but not everybody like Robert Greene.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about Cialdini's principles to be likable, and nowadays maybe the customer should also feel that you like him. That's another reverse thing. It's not only that you are liked, right?
Again, Cialdini's reciprocity.
Yeah, exactly. So many software houses were doing events in the past, right? For lead gen strategy, employer branding. I know that Adriano is also here. He's in the recruitment marketing. What about now? How can you substitute that physical events? And yeah, you have Zoom and webinars, but
it's not the same, definitely. But it's the events. It was not, and this is something that there was two schools of thought. A lot of software houses will go to events with the mindset of, we need to get clients, guys. Bring me 10 new clients after that event, otherwise there's no ROI. Another one, which is the one I like, go and create a network. Go and talk to people, find out what they need. That data has much more valuable than one client for whatever lifetime you'll have it. But you can still do that. You can still, I mean, I do it on LinkedIn every day. I just sit down, connect, post something funny, something serious, something whatever, and I open a chat with people. Like someone will comment something and we might fight about it, but then in the background we'll be like, wow, that was a great conversation. That's great to be connected. And I have amazing connections in LinkedIn. I met people, I mean, people who own casinos in Vegas, the top directors from Warner Brothers Gaming, and they're all people behind, right? They're all people. So you just want to have a chat with someone with a certain mindset or a different mindset, just to network. And then after that network, your name and your personal brand get stuck in there, just like the way any other brand is out there. So, well, apparently my camera's gone. Can you see me, guys?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay.
You're okay.
Anyways, you should. The whole idea of going to events was always about networking, and you can still do that in many other ways. So, if there are no events around, if you cannot create your own events, don't struggle too much of investing tons of money on making a virtual event, and just focus on what matters the most. Get that people together.
And this is what I wanted to ask you, because get that people together nowadays can happen in these kind of webinars, and not anymore in those physical events. But nevertheless, I see that many people start to do webinars, and there's way too many stuff out there. So what you would recommend, because you do a lot of video, what you would recommend if somebody would get started with this in a product company and any technology company that wants to reach clients, besides the technical glitches that we had before starting this event?
No, you need to start. You need to start by doing. So, for example, if you want to go with video, start shooting over every day. Start putting stuff out. Go back and review the results. People liked it. People commented. People hated it. And adapt. And I'm going to use one of my least favorite words in the tech world, but you have to be agile. In a way that you need to be able to adapt like that. But the best way to start is just to start. Just start doing it. Start putting stuff out and start testing.
And one might say to that, Marcos, is great. You are in LiveChat and you're doing marketing. There are so many topics you could reach, but I'm doing software. What are the topics that I could bring up in a webinar? What can I talk about, right? Because that's the biggest let's say objective. So how would you solve that problem? You have in terms of you cannot go to events. You are in a tech industry, sexy tech industry, definitely. But I'm not doing marketing. I didn't do marketing. I'm not a branding guy. But now I'm forced to do all these virtual webinars because no way to talk to customers at a larger scale. So how would you, what you would recommend to someone like that?
I really like, for example, what Tooploox is doing now. They go back and choose a very specific subject. Find some other connections, like, will you mind talking for half an hour about this or that? And you create an event with such a different group of speakers that they will bring their connections, you will bring yours, you end up with a big audience, but it's a very specific audience. So instead of wasting your time trying to make an event for everybody, just start focusing on the little connections and the little networking and the little subjects that are important for a little group. Because these are easy to make, and it will eventually bring more return than just doing webinars just for the fun of it.
And regarding the content marketing, and this is my last question regarding this, how do you see the future of content marketing in your view? Is something that is the same, or it will change a lot because of the new circumstances?
I'm thinking of something very personalized, but not in the way that they know your name and where you're from, is that they understand the nature of your role and the nature of who you are so much that what you get, you wouldn't even doubt of reading it. You will just open it up and or watching it. You will just, oh, this is for me. This is talking directly to me. And that started happening already. I mean, the amount of data that we all have in social media is allowing companies to pick our brain without us even noticing. So it's a bit scary, but that's the future that I see. It's just brands talking directly to you in a way that is almost cringy.
You have a bunch of tools that I know under your sleeves, and you work for a company that is in this, and in Brand24 was it is a very useful tool for many of the marketeers. What are some tools that you would not be able to do the work that you're doing, and you would miss a lot when talking about B2B marketing? Just want to understand a little bit your tech stack.
To be honest, my tech stack is super basic because I focus. I do most in a spreadsheet.
Okay, so the spreadsheet, yeah. Okay.
The spreadsheet's a must. I still don't even know how to add some stuff, but I know that I have one place with all my ideas. So if I have a computer with a spreadsheet and a camera and a notebook with a pen, I'm sorted. Everything else is start complementing what you do. I love, for example, I mean, what Brand24 lets you do with social listening, or HubSpot organizing all of your marketing, or any sort of tool that just help you complement. But at least in my role, I like to talk to people directly, so I can create a strategy on how to talk to them further, and then I let everybody in the different roles to pick whatever they want. But if you ask me directly what I will recommend, just grab a pen and paper and start writing your notes and talking to people.
Yeah, that's great. That's nice to say when you are after 20 years of marketing. So let's
Yeah, I
say,
mean,
let's make this.
but if you're starting, use whatever makes your life easier. Don't invest tons of money in tools, but start using the most of the tools. They have free trials and stuff. See what works
Mhm. And that's
before you
why.
even move into heaven.
And this is what I wanted to ask you. If you get started, even if it's a department of marketing or a new marketeer, what are some books that like you say, you know what, like these are the foundations, this is the must, and then we can go up and talk about some more advanced stuff, but some of the books you really need because your ideas and what you came out with, it's based on your experience, right? In
Hmm.
traveling, reading. So we are not able to maybe boil
To
down that
replicate that,
experience and travel, but books we can do that.
I want to give you two. Robert Cialdini, the Seven Laws of Persuasion,
Mhm.
for influence, sorry,
Okay.
and The Little Prince.
Little Friends.
Little Prince,
Little Prince. Tell us a
literally
bit
the Little
about these
Prince.
books. What did you learn in these books?
It's human nature. You learn about how humans think. What are the people's or the humans' needs? What are the fears? What are their joys? And then if you understand that and how to connect to that, you move to Cialdini and you know how to take advantage of it in a good way, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Guys, if you have questions, just drop them in. This was a great like fire questions and talking with Marcos. Um, what are your advices nowadays for B2B marketers that are in lockdown or we are in houses and we need to, we are not able to travel. So what are those things that you would suggest to B2B marketers? And I want to ask these last questions before we close it.
I was saying take a pause. That doesn't mean stop fully. Do what you're doing, but take a pause to look back and see if your strategy is built on sand or on rocks. If
Mm-hmm.
you started or just grabbed a company and started building up their marketing, then look back and see if the work of the real work in the beginning was done. Is there a brand book? Is there a really target customer definition or personas or journeys? And if that's not done, it's never too late. Go back because it might change the whole strategy upwards.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Thanks a lot, guys. I really hope this was helpful. There was a lot of like a little bit of glitches with the connection, but we were all good. Finally, um, we will just post the recording, and I hope you guys are safe, all good, and thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for all this, Marco.
Thanks a lot for the invitation, and
Thank you.
it was great to join you, man. After a few years,
Yeah. Take care, guys. Bye.
take care, everybody. Bye.